Let's move on to our first quick fire today. A Nigerian pastor's wife and lawyer, Princess Jemaimah, has advised women who are engaged to ask their fiancés necessary questions about sex, including the size of the penis, and prayerfully demand for answers without compromising sexual purity. The evangelist who gave the advice in the Facebook post about sexual sincerity in the courtship revealed that she almost married a man with a micro penis. Wow. Now, I'm not going to say any more, but how do you do that? She's talking about sexual purity. At the same time, she's talking about, women finding out what the sexual organ of their supposed to-be partners is. So I'm a bit lost on this, and I'm trying to ask, Hero, I think you're an expert in this. Because you're virgin. Remember, you said you're a virgin, and I'm going to put it out there for those who don't know. The mayor of Single is a virgin. So, Hero, what are your thoughts on this particular?
Okay, so first of all, I identify as a virgin. So I think I need to clarify that, right? I identify as a virgin.
Okay.
I also identify as a billionaire, right?
Oh.
In dollars.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
Now, do I have billions of dollars? You might have to call my account officer to find out.
But your identity is all that matters in this
Exactly.
case.
And I feel like in this fast-paced world, in a democratic world, if somebody says I identify as a cop, you should respect the person's you should respect the person's choice to identify as a cop. You meet the person, you don't call him a he or a she, you just say cop.
Well, Trump is putting an end to all
I know.
Putting an end to all
I know, but on a more serious note, I feel like before you make the big decision, there are several layers of compatibility, and based off of your background, how you grew up, there are certain things that matter to you and others don't. So for a lot of people, religion is a big factor, right? Sexual purity, like you put it. So for some people, they want to experience their man or woman on their wedding night. Others, they just take off the barriers of religion. They just want to test the physical compatibility. And part of testing the physical compatibility is checking if you have sexual compatibility with your partner. You want someone that will be able to satisfy you in the long run. You don't want to go outside, and even though I feel like you don't have cheating, not being satisfied in your marriage or relationship shouldn't make you cheat. If you're a cheater, you're a cheater.
You're a cheater. Thank you, sir.
But sexual compatibility is one thing I think couples should test if their beliefs permit them. For people like us that identify as virgins, our wedding night.
Okay, Frank, you were quiet looking at Hero.
Yeah, I'm studying.
What are your thoughts on what he said and the story itself?
No, I think it's rubbish because, why are you bothered about finding out about the length and the girth of your partner's manhood before? Why don't you just, because already you are wondering and you're asking questions, already that purity is already smirched. So why don't you just go ahead and do the damn thing and find out? You understand? Because, thoughts, impure thoughts, they say if you think it, you have done it.
You've done it, exactly.
So why don't you just go ahead and test it all out? What's the issue? And also, I don't like this alienating of people with micro penises.
Micro penises matter.
I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
what's a micro penis? Gang? I think
why? No.
Usually you ask questions to those that have never, don't know what it is, and you don't know how to explain what it is.
So you're saying you don't have a micro penis?
No.
Okay. How are we supposed to find out?
If you can come behind the bar.
No. I don't swing that way.
Anyway,
how did we get here?
Let me tell you how we got here. Mr. Macro decided to ask me.
How do you know? Wait. There's this bromance between them. So we think it's a work thing, but it might be beyond that.
I'm not detecting gaydar.
No. We were using the restroom before we came in, and you have to stand on the stool. But anyway, so.
All right, nice one.
Back to that. But in all honesty, this conversation just falls on the whole topic about sex before marriage and things you should know. There was a time on the Black Tip, I think it was last week, we're talking about a woman that found out that her husband had a child, and we compared that to if she had had abortions, and there was a conversation that we're having in general. Sex before marriage is very debatable in this kind of scenario. My issue here is that you're telling women to assess a man's size and girth. So let's reverse the roles
And experience,
now,
by the way.
and say, how do men now assess women sexually without having sex with them and believe what they're saying? Because it's the belief. If a woman comes to find out from me if I'm micro or not, and is trying to find out certain sexual things without having sex, all in the realm of getting married, I can tell her and pretend all of those things until she finds out on the wedding night. And vice versa as well.
Yeah.
So like Frank said, to be frank, we might as well test it out now.
Might as well test it
And
out.
if it's good to go, then we're on the right track.
Yeah. I was trying to use your name to, as a retort. You said to be frank. I wanted to say, yeah, you can find out by having a gang.
No.
You're really a comedian.
I would say at this point, whatever gang says is not the opinion of the men on the table.
But have you guys
That's
seen these
strictly
kids?
on gang?
Different races in a restroom. And then I think they said, oh, the guy from England came and he was peeing. Then the guy from Australia now came and looked and like, okay, started peeing. Then another race, the Chinese guy came, and then all of them now all looked at this huge dude, and it was the black
Nigerian.
guy. It was the
Nigerian
Black
man.
guy. Okay. Yeah.
But here's one of my major issues, and I've said this on the show a lot on Lamide. As vital as sex is in a relationship, especially marriage, you should end up with the kind of person that when sex is off the table, your relationship still stands.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you understand?
When sex is off the table.
When it's off the table.
Okay.
Because there's a time in your relationship, like when there's no sex, you've aged to a certain point and you guys are not as active as you used to be. What holds your relationship together? When you're not sleeping with. That's why sometimes they say marry your
But
best
gang,
friend.
should sex ever be off the table when it comes to relationship? And at
Yeah.
what age does that
Of course, because
really...
here's the funny thing.
Anatomically,
Yeah,
it's
sexually off the
going
table.
to
See,
go away
there's some
sometime.
people-
At what age?
No,
Like,
but age-wise,
it
forget
varies,
age now.
yeah.
There's some people that you've had sexual experiences with that's all you wanted to have.
are you talking to me?
No,
or
not
asking
you. I'm
me?
giving you, for example, let me not lie to you.
I'm wondering. Is
Listen,
there some
when I was
people...
young, when I was
Tension.
younger,
It's the tension between them. You're right now.
No, but here's the
I'm
thing.
seeing it.
No,
I'm
but here's the
seeing
thing. I've been with people that once the sex was over, we had nothing to talk about. It was just gone. I was just like, now that I've done this, I'm like, I wish I never even did it because now we have no conversation.
And that's
we have
why
no
you're the most faithful man in Lagos.
That's one of the reasons. So in all honesty, sex plays its own part, but
Yeah.
when there's no sex, what holds your relationship?
Well, are you saying that all people that are friends then go ahead to have a relationship, including sex and all that? When the sex goes away,
They still
are
have the
you
friendship.
saying 100% the friendship will still be there?
friend-
Sometimes
No,
the friendship...
not 100%.
Okay.
Not 100%. But when you decide to commit and all of these things are exposed, when there's no sex, you would understand. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
Some marriages starve. Some women don't know that. By starving your husband from sex is actually pushing him into the arms of other people. I'm not trying to justify that. Okay, you claim that your husband has a micro penis. So you're now looking for somebody that has a mandingo. You think that's not going to keep you? By the time he's now sharing that mandingo with other people, oh, your husband's such an expert that he's all over the place.
Equatorial
You
Guinea.
always have issues with it. You get me? So,
I see that. I see that.
you know where I'm coming from. So you get me? So that's the thing.
Jesus Christ. I'm surrounded by
So
all of them.
let me give you an example. You can have a micro, what do you call it?
Okay, so moving on.
Or you could have it, your tongue game could be mad.
Oh, Lord.
So what's you know?
Wait,
just-
what's the name of this show again?
Sorry. It's called the 11 p.m. Men and Libation.
Whoa!